Today's podcast is part of our Ways to Beat the Cost of Living series that we've got coming up. And this one is about reducing the costs within your business. I'm Louise and this is Diane. And Diane, I think you're going to take it away today, aren't you? Starting, because you've got a big webinar coming up.
Yeah, so next week, our DCBM members, we're going to do a full webinar on this topic, Beat the Cost of Living Crisis by reducing costs and increasing your profits. And I'm going to talk through in that masterclass next week, I'm going to talk through 10 ways that they can use to reduce cost, increase profits. And I wanted to kind of talk about it on the podcast a little bit in advance and just share maybe a few ways that I recommend and that I use in my business, and maybe ask you a few questions about what you do in your business, Louise. So we'll take it away from there. So I'll start by, I want to ask you a couple of questions first, Louise. So stock management, that is a big way of actually increasing your profit margins, just reducing the costs. Because what happens if you don't manage your stock? So say, for instance, you've got a team of cleaners and you have a stock cupboard and everybody has access to it. There's no controls in place. And what happens is, it's not about staff stealing products or anything like that. But what you find is it's kind of human nature that if there's an abundance of supplies, then there's not as much value placed on them. And people potentially could be using more than they need to. Whereas actually, if the supplies are limited, then people see this scarcity and they put more value on them. So that's the kind of principle behind having a good stock management system. So I wanted to ask you what you have in place in your business to manage, cleaning materials and that sort of thing.
So you just know, control freaks, stock cupboard is strictly off limits to staff. So we do all the refilling. But can I be really honest? And this isn't just a cost thing. This is, and I think we've spoken about this before, my staff seem incapable of diluting things to the right levels. So I don't trust them to dilute to the right levels. 50 ml of product to a litre of water, despite providing with the measuring things. And again, it's not that they're bad, but they just sort of squeeze until they feel like stop squeezing. Yeah. It's not that they're bad. They just sort of know roughly what it should be. Now, that's not bad if it's just one bucketful they're making up. But like you said, it's just, you get through an awful lot. They're not limited on how much they should use, so they just keep squeezing.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. And we do that as well. We dilute all the products in advance for the team. So all they have to do is fill up their spray bottles. So we dilute everything. One thing we also do is do you find that, when your team are cleaning and they're using a spray, for instance, is it 5 sprays or 1 spray?
So, can I talk about bugbear? I totally haven't prepped for this, right? So training, right? Get your cloth damp and spray the spray directly onto the cloth. That's the training. The reality. So their cloth, they'll spray 5 sprays on it. It barely gets wet. It doesn't really work. And I'm going, how much do you need to add to this? Oh, I'll just spray a bit more. And so every 2 minutes, they're spraying another 3 sprays onto the cloth. And I'm like, make the cloth wet. Just make the cloth wet. And then the product will work. So yeah, I mean, wastage central, and it doesn't work. It's only being used to dampen the cloth.
Yeah.
So again, that comes down to training, and it's in our training.
So it's good training. You're right, because we have a principle which says you always start with a base of hot water, and that's where you dampen your cloth, and then you, like you say, spray onto the cloth. You only need 1 spray onto the cloth, but we found that when 1 spray would do, 5 is obviously much better, apparently. So what we also tend to do is we actually over dilute our products a little bit. So we dilute them a little bit more than is recommended. Just means that if then they are using 3 sprays, then they're not using too much product. So it works quite well that way, not just from a cost saving point of view, but actually for their health as well, because they're not exposed to as much product.
So we don't over dilute most of our products. The only one that we do, I wouldn't say it's over dilute, because you've got a range.
No, just a bit more, yeah.
Degreaser. So we have a wonderful degreaser that will strip engine oil if it's at its concentrated level, and you can obviously have it at a range of dilutions. Well, we go for the most dilutes. Yeah. It still just about works on a greasy hob, but I wouldn't use it on an end of tenancy at that level of dilution. But the number of times my staff will spray degreaser and I'm going, like you are now going to have to remove that degreaser because it leaves a little residue. And I'm going, it's so much better to have it more dilute, and they're going to add loads of it anyway. So that's
and it's a combination, isn't it? Stock management and training, and kind of understanding a bit about human nature and how people will behave, and then adjusting your business accordingly. But if you don't do this, you're leaking money in your business. And this is all about, if you want to beat the cost of living crisis, you need your business to make you more money. Therefore, if you can reduce the cost, that's just an easier way of making more money than, for instance, if you just put your prices up, that will, yes, make you more money. But this is another way of doing it as well.
Do you know the other thing staff do? They don't wait till the spray bottle's empty. So if you've got a dosing cap, they don't wait till it's empty. They'll have a quarter left in it. They'll pump another dose in, fill it up with 3/4. So now it's more concentrate. So then they'll wait till that goes down to a quarter at a more concentrated level, pump again. By the end of it, you've got super concentrated spray. If you let them do that.
Yeah, and that's safe for cost, but for health and safety, for the actually effectiveness, and also potentially damaging surfaces as well because they're using too much product. So yeah, there's so many reasons to have good stock control. It just works. Another way of saving a fortune, in my opinion, is by switching to commercial cleaning products. Now, I know obviously you and I in our businesses, we've been using commercial cleaning products for a long time, but I've had chats with people that are either starting out or solo cleaners, don't have a team, and they're going to B&M bargains and the supermarket when there's special offers on, and they're thinking, wow, a bottle of Flash, sorry, my headphones keep falling off, a bottle of Flash is £1, fantastic, I'll buy that, a bargain. And I'm like, that's £1. Shall I tell you how much a spray bottle full of something that would work just as well would cost? And sort of 12p, 16 pence, or less.
It's not even that it would work just as well. Sometimes it's the same product.
Exactly. But yeah.
I know from buying spray bottles are expensive. Plastic is actually really expensive, and those spray heads are expensive. So if you imagine that of that £1 bottle of spray you're buying, you're paying 70 odd p in bottles.
Just for the bottle, yeah.
So if you are not buying the bottle every time, you can whack that down to about 20p for the same product. Yeah. All you have to do is buy it in concentrate, and it's better for the environment, and it's cheaper. And I cannot understand. And people go, well, I only spend £10 a month. I don't understand. And I'm going, but it's better for the environment. It's better for you. Why not swap?
And you might actually only spend £2 a month if you use commercial products. And yes, sometimes the resistance is, oh, well, I have to store the 5-litre bottles. But actually, it comes back to stock management. How many products do you actually need to use? Sometimes, we have cleaners out there with a car full of cleaning chemicals that would cover any eventuality. Now, I understand that a lot of, we're not all just cleaning houses on a regular basis. Sometimes we're doing end of tenancy cleans. Sometimes we're doing, different types of cleaning. But on the whole, if you have a domestic cleaning business, most of your cleans are regular. So you don't need all those extra products. So there are, there's maybe 3, a maximum 5 core products that you actually need. And maybe 3 of those are dilutables. So that's 3 5-litre bottles. That's all you need. And you're away. So it's not, storage issue.
So I obviously do quite a bit on social media, right? The trend going around, there's a hashtag called Count and Confess. Okay. And you're meant to count how many different cleaning products you have in your house. So I thought, this was last week, I thought I'll go and count and confess. And I had 9 in the bathroom. I thought I don't have that many, but I had about 15 under my kitchen sink. And that took me up to about 26. And I really don't have that many at all. But by the time you count dishwasher tablets, laundry stuff, we all have way too many. What's lovely as a professional cleaner is that I think we have 7 different products, and customers always go, wow, what do you use that's so amazing? And I'm going, the staff scrub it. Like, the products work, they do what they're supposed to, they disinfect, they descale, they do whatever they're supposed to do, but really it's about using it in the right way, doing it at the right time. The biggest thing with products is, I believe nearly any product will work if you give it the right dwell time. Let the product do the work so we don't have to. And really, you can spend, I see people that are spending £15 on floor cleaner. Do I really think it's much better than, you can buy an e-mop that uses just water, e-cloth mop they're called. use the right product for the right situation and use it properly, and you don't have to spend a small fortune. And the other thing is the ones that cost a lot of money, the ones we love. I love Method floor cleaner, almond scented. I shouldn't plug it on this, but I do love it. It's just perfume. Just buy some sandalwood or something. Put some essential oils around your house. You don't need to spend £4 on a bottle of floor cleaner that lasts, in my house, 1 week.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I think also we get a bit carried away, don't we? And I think probably, these social medias perhaps, encourage that. But yeah, there's some beautiful perfumes out there, but, they're not for your business. If you want to use them at home, fine, go ahead, but they're not suitable for your business. You are overspending. And I actually firmly believe that a cleaning business with, say, 10 team members would probably spend less on cleaning products using commercial than one solo cleaner shopping at B&M Bargains or the supermarket, in terms of cost. And that's crazy. And if you're a solo cleaner listening and watching this and you're thinking, I spend £50 a month or £10 or whatever you spend on cleaning products.
Only spend £10.
Yeah, £10. We spend nothing in comparison in proportion to what you spend and the hours that you clean for. So from a cost point of view, this is a key point, is switching to commercial products is going to save you a fortune, beat the cost of living crisis, make more money. It's as simple as that.
So, Diane, the problem that people have, though, is it's all very well saying switch to commercial, but it's not as easy as you think, because quite often these people, they go, well, I only spend £10 a month, so why would I spend £50 on, my Diversey bathroom cleaner? It's £60.
Startup costs, yeah.
You don't want to do that. And then, well, I'm supposed to have all my bottles labelled, and if you buy it in concentrate, sometimes the bottles aren't labelled, and then you're in breach of COSH. So the DCBN actually went out. This was quite a hard thing for us to tackle. When you're small and you are just starting out, where do you go? So we have an answer, don't we? And it's nationwide.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've actually got 2 now suppliers that will supply UK wide, and they give a discount to DCBN members, which is amazing. They both give 10% discount, which is fantastic. It's a good chunky discount. And yet they will supply you UK wide, and they will supply sort of smaller orders. There is a sort of a minimum order to get free delivery. However, it's not a huge amount and the minimum order. And
£30 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it might be 50, but it's still not a huge amount. No, so yeah, switching to commercial products initially may cost you a little bit more, but then you won't have to buy any products for so long that you'll. And also think about all those trips to B&M Bargains or the super. I keep mentioning B&M Bargains, it's like an advert for them, isn't it? But all those trips to the shops to buy those products once a month, you don't have to do those anymore.
And do you know the other thing? I don't know if you've been, so I don't go to these shops because I can't go in there and spend £10 on cleaning products without going, ooh, what's this? Oh, a scrub daddy. I totally need one of those, which I don't. Yeah. Or, oh, I need a multi-pack of something that I've never used in my life. And I normally walk out with 6 new scrubbing brushes that I've already got a stock of. Yeah. So if I go into the shops, I've got to say it's impulse purchases, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you might not be buying stuff for your business, you might be buying stuff for home, but yeah, you're going to go in thinking you're going to spend 10 and you're going to spend 20, because that's the nature of those shops. Or more, a trolley full before you know it. And yeah, we've got a shop over here in France called Action, and yeah, you can't go in without buying things that you didn't plan on buying. You go in for a notebook and you come out with a trolley full of all sorts.
And the other thing about these shops, you cannot actually buy unscented products, not without paying an absolute premium, whereas all commercial ones are unscented. And for me, it's about the health. So, I think the stats are something like after 10 years of being a cleaner, you're 70% more likely to suffer from lung diseases. I've already done 10 years. Do you know what? I think I do have lung diseases. But anyway, no, I don't. But anyway, the stats are something like that. And one of the problems is the perfumes that are heavily put in there. And these products that you're buying in Tesco, Sainsbury's, wherever you buy it from, they're not designed to be used day in, day out, all day. Inhaling Harpic fumes is not meant to be done for 5 hours a day. And I know my staff, they're working in pairs. You could be cleaning bathrooms all day for 5 hours. So, you need to have products that are made with that in mind. So the unperfumed ones are important because it's important for the operative. And I would love my staff. I provide so many gloves. They have every type of glove known to man, but they don't wear them. So I need to know that the products that they're using are less harsh, I guess. They're less likely to have an impact on them because I can't stop them being exposed to it. It will be absorbed through their skin. I can't stop that. I do everything I can to, with training, providing the PPE. But ultimately, you just have to be considerate, and the things you buy in Tesco's, like, it's terrifying that the mold sprays you can buy are so dangerous. But because they're in the household cleaning aisle, people go, oh, it's fine. They just spray it all over the place. Oh, kids, do you just go and have a bath while that's working on the walls? No, don't do it.
No, completely agree. And, if you are going to buy those products, you need to really think about the safety of them. And, that there comes a cost with the perfume, and the cost you don't want it to be your health. So there's a cost to the business, but there's also a cost to your health. And long term, cleaning is a physical enough job as it is. The good thing about it is it's like getting paid to go to the gym. But the bad thing about it is it can have a knock-on effect on your health physically. And if you're then using products that are literally going to damage you, then that's a cost as well, isn't it? That has to be thought about.
Should we move on? I feel like we've covered this.
Of course we can. Yeah,
we
got the message. Switch to commercial products. Solo cleaner, no matter what size business you have, switch to commercial products. Okay. What are the other tips that I like for saving money? Is actually only working for clients that work for you. So
I've got a really good example this week.
Sometimes a harsh message, but if you look at your clients that you have at the moment, whether you've got 10 clients or 100 clients, whatever size your business, and you look to every client in terms of how much money they make for you per hour, per week, per however long you want to look at it, and really thought about why some are more profitable than others, then you probably get a little bit of a shock, perhaps, because you might be looking at your clients and actually realizing that only, if you talk about the 80-20 rule, but actually 20% of them might actually make you 80% of your money, and the other 80% might not make you any money at all. So you really need to look at this and go through each client, and it's a really good exercise, because then you can think, well, okay, what am I going to do about that? Am I going to increase their hours? Am I going to increase their price? Am I going to stop cleaning for them altogether because they just don't work for me? And it's a really important way of increasing your profits, is to, we call it sacking C and D grade clients, because they're just not the right clients for your business, that you could even be paying to clean for them. It could be that bad.
Can I give a couple of examples? I think this is great advice. And I think when it's obvious, it's easy. It's the less obvious ones. And I know that when you become a bigger business, it becomes a lot easier to track. So our staff fill in timesheets. I know exactly what time they start, what time they finish. But it's hard when you're a solo cleaner, because these people are your friends and you might finish bang on time, but then they have a chat to you. And that's fine until you get busier and you know that within the school hours, you can fit in 6 hours cleaning, but you can't if they chat to you for 10-15 minutes. And then you realize you can't get away and you're going, oh, what do I do? I now can't fit in that extra hours clean that I want to book in. And there's another one that we've just got rid of this week, and it came up in a meeting. We'd done some damage. So an ornament had been damaged. A cat head came off, or a bird. I don't know what it was. Some kind of bird was broken. It wasn't particularly expensive. I think it's £8 on eBay. But this was like the 20th time in the 4 years. And I was like, this is taking us so much management time to keep managing it, and the stress. And really, it's because the whole house is full of ornaments and they're not expensive, but she's going to notice every single one. And it's at that point, you've got to sort of be a bit ruthless. A lovely lady, we enjoy cleaning for her, but actually, I haven't got the management time to keep managing this. And if it was with every customer, and so she almost gets demoted to a C or D client, despite the fact it's our perfect clean in our perfect area, nice lady, everything wonderful, but and they're only small claims. It's an £8. Can we cover it? Yes, but it's £8 off every other clean.
Yeah, and that really eats into your margins, because £8 loss on a clean is significant, because we know that domestic cleaning is about low margins, and it can be about low margins. And usually the only way to combat those is either higher sort of turnover, do more clients, or if you're solo, then you're going to have higher margins anyway. But yeah, it just eats into your time. And also, if you look at geography of clients, you're traveling, the cost of petrol and diesel is still high, but also there's your time, and if you've got a team, you're having to pay them travel time. So think about the geography of your clients. And it might be that you don't need to sack the clients. It might be that you could actually go, well, okay, Mrs. Smith lives near Mr. Jones, but we go there on different days. So why don't we ask Mrs. Smith if she'll change days? Simple as that. It's just a little change, and Mrs. Smith probably won't mind, or move Mr. Jones, whichever. But you've then automatically reduced your cost, because it will reduce your travel time and therefore your cost of your fuel, or it will reduce your team's mileage, travel time, whatever you pay them. So again, and you can fit more hours in as well. So it's got so many, just looking at that travel time is another really good way of looking at your clients slightly differently. But also, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, do you know what a lot of businesses do that I love? So I know around us, we've got sort of like 5 small little towns, they all interlinked, and you do that one on one day and that one on another day. And so you're not going from one little town, I mean, they're only 2 miles away, but from one little one to another, you when you're quoting, you say, right, I cover here on a Wednesday. Do you want my Wednesday slot? And they go, oh, I really wanted a Friday. Do you want the Wednesday? Yeah, I'll take the Wednesday.
Yeah. Absolutely. And particularly right now, where we're still in a seller's market most of the time, it's still good to rationalize your business in this way and give the client options, but don't give them every option. Give them the options that suit your business rather than any day of the week, regardless of geography. Yes, I'm in this town on Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon, I'm driving 5 miles up the road, because all those 5 miles add up. And particularly if you want to, or you've got a team, that 5 miles of travel time and mileage allowance really adds up. And also your team won't like it, because they're stuck in traffic, and they won't like it either. I know where you are in Manchester, travelling 5 miles is going to take a lot longer than travelling miles where we are in Yorkshire.
We don't do 5 miles.
No.
It's ridiculous. I would not do 5 miles.
No. Whereas we would travel 10 to 15 miles because we can do that in 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a bit of a difference. And whereas our North Leeds branch, yeah, absolutely, we don't travel more than 5 miles because it's crazy. But if you're paying travel time, your team are going to be sat and you're paying them.
Are you going to cover this? Because travel time is something that comes up time and time again. Do I have to pay travel time? Do you want me to answer this one?
Go on then.
I love this. So it's a little bit complex, and it's something that people talk about again and again. No, you don't have to pay travel time is the simple answer. But so obviously you'll all be aware of minimum wage. And I think minimum wage at the moment for over 25s is £9.50. So if you had them do an hour's work, they got paid £9.50, then they had to travel 20 minutes, and then they had to do the next job, and they did an hour's work at £9.50, they would be working 2 hours and 20 minutes, and you would only be paying them £19. That would mean that, including that extra 20 minutes, they fall below national minimum wage. So if you are going to pay the minimum wage, then you will need to pay travelling time, because they must not fall below minimum wage. Now, if you paid, I can't do the maths on this, if you paid £12 an hour and they did the 2 hours work, so they got paid £24, plus that was that extra 20 minutes, I haven't got my calculator on, but they would not fall below national minimum wage. So if I divided 2 hours 20 by 24, then they would not fall below £9.90.
Yeah, that's pretty much the principle. One thing you have to remember about this is that it's in every single pay period that you have to calculate this. So if you pay your staff monthly, you work it out based on how many hours they did that month, how much travel time they did that month, how much did they get paid? Is that above minimum wage? If you pay them weekly, you have to do it every week. It's a really important distinction, because people have fallen foul of it. But yeah, you don't have to pay it. You just have to do the calculation every single pay period to make sure.
And I know that's built into our software. I don't know if it's built into yours, but ours is built into the software. So we are aware of whether it does fall under. So no, you don't have to pay it is the answer. But you've got to be aware if you're not paying it.
Very aware. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But fundamentally, for in terms of cost to your business, it's you want to reduce it as much as possible, because you want your staff to be paid as well as possible, but also the business needs to make money. And if you're traveling here, there, and everywhere, paying that extra for that, and you might be paying the mileage as well as travel time, then it's going to cost you money. Another thing around reducing travel time I like is about your time. So quoting. So I know, Louise, you love a video quote, and we do all our quotes on the telephone now. And I know we've done webinars that are in the training library, the DCBN training library now, about selling over the phone. And we even did a role play, didn't we, on the video quote?
I've just had my new office manager learning from our
fantastic training. Yeah, fantastic. So that's another way. It saves you a fortune, and also it gives you back some of your time, because you're not going out, evenings, weekends, because often our clients are at work all day, so they want us to come out outside office hours, and so you're getting that time back. So that automatically saves you money. But if you're not going out, you're not spending money on petrol either. So talk me through how you do the video quote, Louise. I know we've done a role play on it, but why is it so powerful?
So I'm not going to talk you just through the pack. I'm going to say why we did it, because I actually did the calculations on this. So if, for example, it takes me 25 minutes to get to, say, my quote, which some of them were, and then I'm there for an hour, and then it's 25 minutes back again, or 25 minutes to the next one, that's, an hour and 45 minutes, well, an hour and 50. And video quotes, a lot of people say, well, they're not as accurate. And you're right, they're not as accurate. But my video quote takes me 20 to 30 minutes. So I can be up to an hour wrong, and still I would rather pay my staff an extra hour than me being there. And, I can be an hour wrong and still be better off than going to do all these quotes. Yeah. And for me, that was the kind of no-brainer. In particular, as we grow, and I've got other people doing the quotes, I don't want to pay someone 2 hours to still get the quote wrong. I'd rather they got it wrong in 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah. Not that they do get it wrong, they get it right.
Yeah, I completely agree. And ours started because we always liked to quote over the phone, because we wanted to minimize the number of sales appointments. That's initially how it started for us. So we didn't want to go out to clients or potential clients that weren't in our kind of target market in terms of price particularly. But, we just didn't want to keep going out to people that were like, oh, I expected it to be X amount per hour. And we're like, we just wanted to get the price out of the way over the phone. So I first introduced this probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And I trained my team to do it as well, where we did a telephone quote. We still then followed it up with a sales appointment. So we still went out. But with COVID, we just stopped going out. And we actually don't do video quote. We still do it all over the telephone, but we manage the client's expectations that they have booked a set length of time, and this is what we'll be able to do in that time. However, we have a really good feedback system, and we'll be in contact over the first few cleans to make sure it works. So we've managed that if we did need extra time, we can then go back to the client and go, actually, because of this, because of that, because you didn't tell me about the 3 dogs, it's going to take slightly longer. Or actually, it might work the other way, and it might be that we've overquoted. But generally, it's been working. And I know when my manager was on holiday at the beginning of August, I signed 9 clients over the phone in a day, just over the telephone. In fact, it actually wasn't even a day, it was a morning, just over the telephone. Whereas if I'd had to go out to 9 sales appointments, hours.
Yeah. Diane, I've got 6 booked between 12 and 3 on Friday afternoon. I'm going to go bam, 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 bam. Like, yeah. Please don't turn up someone.
Yeah. So, and one of the challenges in this business as well is that, especially if you're going out cleaning all day, is going home and you've got admin to figure out, you've got the kids to feed, you've got whatever. Then the thought of having to then return those sales inquiries, because you've then got to fit them into your diary to actually do the sales appointment, as well as fit them into your diary to do the cleaning. It just becomes really wearing. And I've heard a few comments recently where people said, I don't want to pick up I don't want to return calls anymore. I don't like answering the phone anymore. And I think it comes from overwhelm and knowing that actually all I have to do is make those calls, and then we book them in, whether it's on video or you just do it as a telephone call. If you've bought all that time back, then it becomes kind of fun again, that sort of sales bit, rather than a chore. So yeah, it saves you money, but it also perhaps maybe gets your mojo back a little bit when it comes to returning calls, if you've kind of got a bit like, I can't face it.
The other thing, so one of the things we push is if your price is decent enough, you won't win all of them. So, for me to guarantee that I'm going to get 10, now I'll probably get 15 out of this. I want to do 20 sales quotes.
Yeah.
Well, so in the next week, I've got to do 20 sales quotes. You'll see me stressing about this on the Facebook pages. I hate doing this. But you know what? They are just booked into the diary. And I know 20 sales quotes will take me 10 hours to do. So that's 2 hours an afternoon. If I'm going out to do 20 sales quotes in a week, that's a full-time job. I can't do it. Whereas 2 hours a day I can do.
Yeah, it's still, that's a lot. Most people aren't going to be doing 20 sales quotes at once. But, if you are, then this is a way of buying so much time back. And actually, you then got 30 hours left to do something else in your business rather than slogging away, go driving here, spending money on petrol, losing family time, whatever it is that, is the
well, the reality is, in the time it's going to take me to do this, you do 5 quotes, and of those, let's say half don't go for you. You only get 2 in, and you just think that, I'm useless at this. And sometimes it's a numbers game. If you want to grow.
Yeah. And if you've then got, we've both got other people in place that do this selling for us, we can train them how to do it, and we can save a fortune by them not spending 40 hours a week doing 20 quotes. They can do other things for us as well, or they could be part-time. Again, it saves money for you as an individual, but it also saves money for your business as it grows. And, we've done a couple of webinars on sort of selling and marketing and things like that, but we did a specific one, didn't we, on telephone sales skills, where we role played it in great detail, the telephone one, but also the video quotes. So that's in our training library. So DCBM members can access that anytime.
That's one of my favourite ones, the role plays. You learn so much from the role plays.
I was very nervous on that one, I have to say. You were really mean. Yeah, absolutely. So we've given you a few ideas there as to how you can, just reduce your costs in your business. If we're all going to get through this next sort of 6 months to a year where things are very changeable, inflation is still almost 10%. And in fact, actually for essentials, it's more like 25%. So there are so many things going on that are, scary, that can affect our business. Our clients are going through the same. So I know that some people have found that clients have been cancelling. So we need to make our businesses resilient. So that's why I was so keen that we run a bit of a series about beating the cost of living. So this is just the first one, just a few ideas for you. The masterclass next week, there'll be a lot more ideas and expanding on this topic for our members. And then, we'll do another topic, some more ideas for you as to how you can survive and thrive, even in difficult times.
And I think the cleaning industry, they say it's recession proof. And we've both been through recessions. Businesses will do well. Businesses started up in COVID when I know I struggled quite a lot, mainly because we were closed for 9 months. Others started up and absolutely rocketed. And you're going to find exactly the same if a recession comes, might do.
Let's not talk ourselves into it, but yes.
If it happened, there will be people that start cleaning businesses and they will do exceptionally well. And it's always interesting, however the market changes. And I always think of it as sort of a bit of a seesaw. So when we're struggling, we've got lots of jobs, we can't find staff. When we've got no jobs and loads of staff, and really it's just about keeping that balance. We've just got to keep going. And Diane said, well, what are you doing to become recession proof or save it? I was like, Diane, I've just been through COVID. We've gone in every direction. I don't need to be anything proof because we've been through everything in the last 2 years. So I think if you've survived the last couple of years and you've gone from sort of pre-COVID through it, coming out the other side, by now you should have the skills to just deal with whatever's thrown at you.
Yeah. And I always, I share this a lot with people. I started my business in 2008, literally as the banks were collapsing. And people needed cleaners just as much then as they do now. And I was the most expensive in my area. I didn't realize I was most expensive at the time because I just kind of set my price differently to most people. But I grew so quickly because people needed the service and I was good at selling it. So there are elements around, if you're delivering a service that people will still want regardless of the economy, you just need to get good at selling it and good at delivering it, and then making sure your business is profitable. And you will survive, definitely.
And I think the other thing, and we don't plug this enough, the thing that's hard is as things change, you have to adapt and you have to be resilient. And I know that last time I went through it, I was alone. I've always said I grew in isolation. And the difference is now there's a community. You've got us. We're going to keep talking through this. You're not going through this alone. These are live. We're doing these and they're released less than a week later. So whatever's happening, we kind of are going through it with you at the same time. And it's part of a community. And that's what I found hardest, probably about every time there's a major shift in the market, a major shift, I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And sometimes you just need to be told it's not you, because when it goes wrong, you automatically think you're a bit useless, and you're not. You just got to change with it.
Yeah, it's nice to know you've got a community of cleaning business owners that all want to support each other, and knowing that you're not just this. Yeah, it can be very lonely in your own business. So yeah, come and join us.
Come and join. Come join the DCBN. Great part of it all. Well, that's all. We're wrapping up now, aren't we, Diane?
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, we'll see you on the next one, or you'll hear us on the next one, depending on whether you're on YouTube or listening on your headphones while you're working.
And I'm off to get a haircut, so hopefully this will be a lot shorter for the next one. And we're off on Saturday, aren't we? We're going to the
Cleaning Expo.
Cleaning Expo. So there'll be lots of live. There won't be live. There will be interviews, and I'm quite excited. I don't think we'll get any podcasts done then. So
no, but you're doing lots of interviews, aren't you? So I'll be looking forward to those.
Suppliers and cleaning business owners. And some of the feedback we've had is you want to hear from other cleaning business owners. So we're going to start interviewing some people for you guys.
See you all soon.